Hey everyone, it's Sabrina. Welcome back. I am going to be finishing up this traveler's notebook using the Traci Reed Anywhere But Here scrapbook kit, and I am using it as a digital and then printing it to make it a hybrid project. I did a digital planning video and then I did a part 1, and I believe this is the third part. It's the final part. I'm making a longer video so that way I can get it all together and you guys can see how it's all going to come together. So I am working on day 2, where we decided to go to the Luther Burbank Gardens and home, and there was a statue right outside. So I took some cute photos of the kids, and that's going to be kind of the introduction to the second day. And then I'll move on to photos of the actual gardens and the kids in the gardens. And I just really liked this cactus photo as a way to kind of start the photos for the gardens. And so I had to include it. And of course, I cut out with my Cameo some little cactuses. I need to look at the photos again, but I'll probably add it in my journaling when I go back to do my journaling. But that cactus may be the cactus that Luther Burbank kind of discovered. He discovered it as a way for it to be a spineless cactus. So I think that might be what it is, but I'm not sure. I'm going to double check when I go back to do my journaling. And once again, like I've said in other videos, I punch the holes in my project as I go. I know that makes it take a little more work, but that's okay because I just like to punch each layer as I go. And I included 2 photos of my kids walking through the garden, and then I'll make a little cluster with a flower, a wood veneer camera, and a heart. I also decided to make the 3x4 card on the left-hand side a little more three-dimensional by taking a cactus from the kit and pop dotting it, cut it out with my Cameo, pop dotted it, and then added a little heart and a wood veneer. So it gave it just a little bit more dimension that I wanted. So, and when I put my photo down, I realized I need to put down the die cut cactuses first because they're going to touch the top, and then I'll put down the actual cactus photo. And I'll make another little cluster with just a flower and a wood veneer. And then I'm going to move that aside and get the insert that I want to include for some flower photos of the gardens. And I am going to do a see-through element with a sun and then a word strip that says day tripping. I go to put it in and it doesn't fit. So I'm going to have to chop it a little bit more and then insert it. And when I come back in a little while, I am going to cut this page protector, cut a row of it, because I realized that I don't have as many photos as I thought, and I don't want to force it to work. So I'm just going to cut off a row a little bit later on. But I am making one journaling block so that way I can add a few journaling bits when I come back. And now I am going to work on the next part of the project, which is the inside of the house. I find old homes really fascinating, all the different pieces that are in the homes from that period. I find the whole thing fascinating. So definitely had to include a page about that, and I loved the kitchen stovetop and the calendar the most, so I included those as my main photos. And then on the right-hand side, I had some more smaller photos. And I decided instead of like making a grid, I just do 2 more photo strips like I did earlier. You guys saw that in the day 1 video. And so I got out some transparency and I glued it down and then kind of stapled it as well. And then I'll make 2 photo strips. Hopefully it will all stay together because I wound up making the transparency pocket and using a piece of transparency that was really small, but hopefully it'll work. So I wind up with 2 photo strips, and I just include, like I said, close-ups of like the phone and some kitchen tools on the counter, and then like a side table, and then the fireplace that had a rocking stool. And then I'm just going to make a little cluster at the bottom of the pocket with a little camera. It kind of looked like an old-fashioned camera that I found in my stash. So I went with that, a flower, and then a little bit of some torn paper just for a little more texture and just a little visual interest. And then I had a ticket that I die cut, and I'm just going to tilt that to the side along with a flower. I don't normally tilt tickets and I don't normally use tickets, but you know what? I figured I had it cut out. I'm just going to go ahead and use it, and it kind of works with the historical theme. Okay, so I'm back again. I had taken a break from the project and I came back, and this is where I cut off the row of the flower photos and I added in, so that way I have all the pockets filled and I have the one see-through pocket and one journaling pocket, and then I can keep going. And then on the photos of the inside of the house, I just needed a little script piece of paper in the middle of one of the photo strips. Now I'm going to go on to my daughter kind of walking through the gardens. When I was putting this album together, I noticed that I had some photos, really cute photos of my daughter, and I said, you know what, I am going to do the same type of layout I did in day one where my son was in front of the boat, and so that way there's a layout of my son and my daughter, same type of thing. So I'll do the green paper at the bottom and then 2 smaller photos of her and then some yellow paper in the that I just laid down, and then I'll split her photo across both pages like I did with my son's. Her photo is going to go more towards the right instead of the left, just because of the way that the negative space is on the photo. And then these ones are 3x2, and I didn't want to put the photos close to the middle, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill that in with some flowers, smaller flowers that I cut out with my Cameo, and then I'll frame in the larger photo with large flowers and a bunch of wood veneer that I dig out of my stash. So I put down one of the flowers, and then I'm going to use the second flower and adhere it to the right, and right now I'm going to adhere it to the left, whatever piece did not fit on the right. So that way it kind of looks like one continuous flower that was stuck on there. I was kind of going back and forth on the wood veneer pieces that I was going to choose. I had a flower, and then I had memory, and I got out some butterflies. Those are going to stay, but I pulled off the flower and memory, and I went with This Is My Happy Place, because being in nature is definitely my daughter's happy place. And I'm going to add in a few more wood veneer hearts, and just trying to use up my really old wood veneer stash. I think I even pulled out some really old Ellie Studio wood veneer as well. Adhere that page down, and then I'll move on to a simple layout where I did 3 photos of my son doing a little craft project while we were there. I'll add some journaling later on, probably off camera. And then I just did a grid of all the other photos that I had left over, because I wanted to move on to the museum and I wanted to make that a 2-page spread. So just a little grid on the right-hand side will work, and I will move on to the museum. For this one, I did 2 vertical photos of my kids, and then I thought it would be fun to take the right-hand side and do a journaling card and a band of the blue paper, and then just add in a few little things on the left-hand side, like a geotag and a word strip that says, "Oh, the places we'll go." And then in between this insert, I'm going to put 2 page protectors that I got from Citrus Twist. And then I'll just throw in the photos, not much journaling, and then move on to finishing the project. So one of the inserts is these small vertical photos, and I decided to do another see-through element. This time I did Go See Do, and I love it. It turned out so cute, and it was perfect for that little pocket. And then I just kind of trim off the transparency that you don't need to see. That way I am using the bare minimum of transparency to hold it together, and then put it in, and then I'll have a really cute little pocket with all the fun photos of us in the museum. And then I had a separate one for my daughter because she had so much fun in the little play garden farmer's market and just roaming around the gardens outside. And I made kind of a floating sun type of thing for that little pocket. And then I will move on to the last page where we took some family selfies in the museum and then a photo of us on the road. So the photo, I have 2 photos of us. My son was not cooperating, and you can see my daughter wasn't cooperating. One of the selfies has just a boot because she was sticking up her boot. But you know what? These are the type of photos we'll remember, right? So I have 2 strips of paper, one's red and one's the script paper. I just stress those and then I'll just layer those on and then put the 2 selfies that I picked and layer on some flowers, word strips, and some wood veneer. So these photos are priceless and hysterical and just the way it goes sometimes with kids, right? I also have a wood veneer 4 and I thought that'd be perfect since we're a family of 4 and I can use that up. So I'm going to put a really fun cluster up at the top with the compass and a flower and a 4, and then I will make another cluster on the right hand side and add in some wood veneer. So that photo of us returning home, that was too big, so I just trimmed it off. And up at the top, I'll put a word strip that says, "Take it all in," and then a very large flower. And then at the bottom left, I'll do another little word strip that says, "Weekend Adventures." And I decided that the wood veneer piece, Memory, was a perfect fit right there. And then I'll add in some stars and that'll finish up this spread. And so the next thing that I'll show you guys is a complete walkthrough of this entire album and how I added in the journaling. So that means I have one vacation all scrapbooked and I'm so excited. And I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing this project come together. So just adding in a few more little stars and I will be done. And then I can take all these pages and put them into the little notebook. So I start putting them in on the left and then you'll see I have to start putting them in on the right because it started to get really chunky. And by the end of it, it's very chunky and I love this album so much. It turned out great and I'm so glad that I documented a vacation album. So there you go. It's all together and I just love it. So thanks for coming along this journey as I put together this traveler's notebook. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a great day. Bye.